Comic Relief's tracksuit-clad offshoot returned for another night of fundraising challenges, sports-themed comedy and iffy music. More than £38 million had been raised as the biennial TV extravaganza drew to a close. Presenter Davina McCall said, "Sport Relief is always a really special night, and this evening, once again, we've seen the public show just how generous they are. Thank you, to everyone who has got active and supported Sport Relief this year." Here are the top 10 highlights from Friday night's stamina testing 6-hour telethon. Murray vs McIntyre was perfect match. Tennis titan Andy Murray got a rude awakening when comedian Michael McIntyre, a camera crew and an array of celebrities sneak into his hotel room in the dead of night. The former Wimbledon champion's slumber was abruptly disturbed to take part in Midnight Game Show, a regular segment on McIntyre's Big Show. Murray groggily greeted the gatecrashers with a string of bleeped-out expletives, before bursting into laughter and throwing himself into proceedings like a good sport. He high-fived Peppa's Daddy Pig, hit tennis balls at the Styx helmet, sang along to Spice Girls hits with Jerry Halliwell and slurped down Ainsley Harriot's gruesome smoothies. Perhaps most impressively, he recognized Tim Henman by scent alone. Murray was game, as well as set and match. Any cynic who ever accuses him of being dour just needs to be shown this clip, one of the highlights of the evening. Scott Salsa ed to Strictly victory. Glitterball control was in evidence as Wembley Arena hosted a special footballing mini edition of Strictly Come Dancing. Gaelic smoothie David Daffy Ginola, England women's stalwart Alex Scott and pundit Come Online betting plugger Chris Comey Camera transferred their fancy footwork to the dance floor. After limited training time, their salsas to New Order's World in Motion weren't terribly slick. Comey slump and disco dad moves were inevitably declared a complete dance disaster by Judge Craig Revel Horwood, who duly got a red card from colleague Bruno Tonioli. Ginola was far superior and enjoyed sizzling Latin chemistry with pro-partner Karen Clifton. However, it was Scott who deservedly lifted the Glitterball trophy after her routine with partner Pasha Kovalev was full of sassy leg action and spectacular lifts. Anglo-Russian relations were at least cordial in the ballroom. Female viewers of a certain age might have complained that Silver Fox Ginola was robbed, but by far the biggest cheer of the evening came for John Barnes, who put in a surprise appearance to bust out his much-loved Eng Land rap. "Express yourself, it's one-on-one indeed." John Bishop's Spirit of 66 skit fell flat. Stepping into the motivational shoes of James Corden's Smithy character, Scouse comic John Bishop was on a mission to help the England football team win this summer's World Cup. Miracles were required, frankly. The sketch's tenuous premise tried to restore old-school values to the 21st century game. Hence Sir Geoff Hurst admonished today's squad for their elaborate goal celebrations. Jamie Vardy donned a Bobby Charlton comb-over wig and 4 unfortunate players were made to dress as the Beatles, complete with a stilted phonecam appearance from Thomas the Tank Engine. Sorry, Ringo Starr. However, the involvement of Ricky Hatton, Mel C, and Johnny Wilkinson didn't remotely fit the theme. Other celeb cameos were painfully stilted. Gags were met with tumbleweed. This disappointing skit was all guest and no giggles. Celebrity boxing was back. A regular feature of Sport Relief is well-padded famous faces, well, their cheekbones are their fortunes, taking to the boxing ring. Who can forget Ricky Gervais vs Grant Bovey or Bob Mortimer vs Leigh Dennis back in the early noughties? You did? Ah, well. Such bouts have been off our screens for more than a decade after the boxing authorities denounced them as dangerous and irresponsible, threatening to revoke the licenses of professional trainers taking part. However, hoops had been jumped through, 3 months training was undertaken and licenses were granted again. We got not 1 but 3 fights here. They didn't feature the starriest names, admittedly, but were still grimly compelling to watch. The first 2 bouts were bruisingly one-sided. Blue Peter alumnus Helen Skelton gave Love Island's Camilla Thurlow a thorough pasting. You wouldn't squabble with Skelton over the sticky-backed plastic. Former footballer Wayne Bridge then wiped the smile off made in Chelsea ladies' man Spencer Matthews with his jackhammer jab and superior skills. Finally, the Battle of the Popstrolls was the closest clash of the evening. Fists flailed. Technique failed under pressure. Yet Vanessa White from the Saturday's heavy right hand narrowly edged out Club 7's persistently plucky Hannah Spear-Ritt. There will be some sore jaws and shiners on red carpets next week. Or some BBC beat-sinking ITV. The Battle of the Channels celebrity boat race was broadcast on the BBC and held on a 1,200-metre course along Salford Quays near BBC Sport HQ. Surely there could only be one winner? Sighs of relief all round at the corporation, then, when their team beat ITV's by a boat length. It didn't help that the ITV crew seemed to take a commercial break mid-race and lost their oars. It was like the Strictly vs X Factor ratings battle in nautical form. Question time for Ed Balls. While the news at 10 interrupted proceedings on BBC One, perma-smiling Sue Barker kept things ticking over on BBC Two with a special edition of Backslapping, banter-swapping quiz, a question of sport. Guests Denise Lewis, Frank Skinner, Paddy McGuinness, and Ed Balls joined regular rival captains Matt Dawson and Phil Tufnell, who finally got to team up. And, indeed, dramatically win by a single point. No wonder Labour aren't in government, yelled a hoarse McGuinness as Balls struggled in the crucial quick-fire round. The result was a rollickingly entertaining half-hour during which Skinner and McGuinness stole most of the laughs, but Balls won hearts with his endearingly nerdy musical knowledge and not one but two gratuitous outbreaks of his signature Gangnam-style dance moves. Oppa Ed Balls style. Again. Musical offerings hit some bum notes. Ageless Aussie pop pixie Kylie, she goes by one name nowadays, Minogue opened the show with a nasal live rendition of her country-scented new single Dancing. We later saw the return of dormant Scots Stadium rockers Snow Patrol. During a stripped-back and creaky rendition of their signature hit Run, a backing choir covered a multitude of sins. Even worse was John Bishop and Melanie Sporty Spice Chisholm's unofficial football anthem Merry World Cup, which would have had Slade turning in their graves. Well, if they were dead anyway. Instead it was the younger female artists who provided the night's musical high points, Meghan Trainor with her infectious new single No Excuses and Ray Morris with Lighters Aloft piano ballad Someone Out There. Magic of sport was alive and well. Mop-topped magician Ben Hanlon, star of ITV2's Tricked, Me Neither, went behind the scenes at the Sports Personality of the Year to wow an array of A-list athletes with his conjuring skills. Hanlon did some Darren Brown-style mind control on Tom Daley and Michael Johnson. He freaked out Harry Kane and Anthony Joshua with card tricks. He baffled a quartet of Olympians by making them design the same kit he was wearing beneath his suit. How did he do it all? That's magic. Hanlon certainly deserves a bigger stage than ITV2, though. Live TV was as gloriously unpredictable as ever. Like always with live television, plentiful moving parts and random factors meant things didn't always run smoothly. We got fluffed links, occasional sound problems and awkward pauses. Anchorman Gary Lineker managed to miss an air kiss with Alex Jones and trip over a glitter cannon, nearly setting it off at an inopportune moment. In fact, the stage manager might want to rethink their placement because Freddie Flintoff later tripped over the same pyrotechnic device. The night's best blooper, though, was when Strictly Come Dancing champion Jo McFadden surprised a fundraising hero in the studio audience and she exclaimed, "I love Casualty. I'm in Holby." "Holby," he replied with a rictus grin. "Easy mistake to make." Swimming with Men made a splash. Rob Brydon and the cast of upcoming Brit flick comedy Swimming with Men donned wetsuits and nose clips for a special all-male synchronized swimming routine. Joined by CO stars including Rupert Graves, Thomas Turgus, Daniel Mays, and Jim Carter, going from Downton to Drownton, Britain's chlorine-scented choreography was really rather impressive. Whether this summer's film, dubbed The Full Monty in Goggles, lives up to this sneak peek remains to be seen, but it sure showed promise. No ducking, no bombing, no petting.